Yaj is a current senior who has committed to attending Vanderbilt University for undergraduate studies. For the past 4 years, he has been passionate about addressing food security, nutrition, and sustainable development issues through his research initiatives and field engagement across India. Everyone, please welcome Yaj.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope all of you enjoyed your break. So today I'd just like to start. If I asked every single one of you to open your phone right now, all of us here could order food within 5 minutes, and thanks to God's greatest invention, Zomato, it'd be here within about 50. We live in an era of unprecedented freedoms and choice, and because of that, Gen Z is often described as being privileged, connected, and secure. For everyone in this room, I would say that this is quite an accurate description, but it reflects a version of Gen Z that is only the one that's most visible. It does not do a job at reflecting the generation as a whole. To contextualize where I'm going with this, I've spent the past 3 years or so researching food security and nutrition with a specific focus on low-income communities in India. These are my credentials. This work has opened my eyes to see a gap between how Gen Z is described and how such a minor proportion of our generation actually thrives. What we treat as a generational reality is an extremely limited view, shaped by visibility and access. After all, the Gen Z that we see is a Gen Z of privilege. For millions of people our age, this generation is not defined by abundance, but it's defined by uncertainty. As a result, their experiences rarely shape how we as Gen Z are represented. Going back to the idea of hunger, we live in what I would call the era of infinite choice. We have the ability to track calories, scan ingredients, make the perfect recipes, and follow any nutritional or viral food trends that we like. However, at the same time, for the majority of people, hunger has not disappeared. It has gone nowhere. Hunger today, it doesn't look like large-scale famines in sub-Saharan Africa. It looks like empty plates. It looks like instability on a fundamentally nutritional level. It looks like households forced to choose calories over nutrients when they should not have to. It looks like young people skipping meals so that food lasts longer for the rest of the family. That is hunger. And the irony, it exists in the same world as that of abundance. I saw this gap clearly while working in rural Rajasthan. Under India's National Food Security Act in 2013, households are legally entitled to, I believe, subsidized food grains about 10 pounds or so, 5 kilograms per person per month. On paper and statistically speaking, it's a robust system that has done a relatively exceptional job at addressing these concerns for the world's largest population. However, in practice, we cannot say the same. One afternoon, quick story time. I met a girl in school who was about 17, exactly in the Gen Z group, who lived in a village in Rajasthan. She was forced to share rations with her grandparents because despite the death of her father and the depression of her mother, she was not able to collect her allocated rations, which she had to share with significant cost to her grandparents. The system wasn't malicious. Food wasn't unavailable, but the system assumed a form of administrative stability that life simply could not offer. This moment revealed something to me. Hunger does not survive in the absence of food. It survives in the gaps between systems and people. Data supports this extensively. In Rajasthan, food grain production has nearly doubled over the past 2 decades, and yet malnutrition remains widespread. Roughly 1 in 3 children under 5 is stunted. Over 70% of young children are anemic. Over 60% of pregnant women have shared the same. These are not marginal numbers, but numbers that persist despite higher investment, expanded schemes, and years of multiple policy efforts all across the door. What does this tell us? The availability of food is no guarantee of nutrition whatsoever. The economics only worsens the issue. Rural food expenditure accounts for nearly half of monthly household spending, and wages have not kept pace with food inflation. In field surveys I've had the chance to carry across 4 different states, while some farmers and households report receiving some form of government support, the majority of them have absolutely no idea about how schemes work or how to navigate them. This demonstrates that despite the existence of information and entitlements, there was zero concept of even access. In many places, hunger persists not necessarily because food is scarce, but because of severe misalignments. After all, there's a large distance between central decisions are made in the offices of New Delhi, literally in the back door of our school, and where meals are eaten in households scattered across the country, between the policies that look quite promising and kitchens that struggle to feed. This is where awareness falls short. It is no secret that Gen Z sees hunger everywhere. It is prevalent in a variety of global conflicts and often maliciously weaponized. And yet, although despite being the most informed generation in the history of humanity, we have made no progress towards changing the systems that created because of the challenges surrounding that process. This matters for how we understand Gen Z. Our generation, especially in today's world, is often criticized for being skeptical, impatient, or even distrustful of institutions. This is an instinct that has originated in a time of greater instabilities across the globe. In an age where youth can speak up, in an age where youth has a voice, it is crucial to hold systems accountable when they're contradictory and regressive instead of progressive. There are countless improvements for what we can do, seen on screen. We have to improve the reduction of food waste. We must better design policies. We must adapt local food plates and regional varieties and include superfoods within the allocations of rations. However, none of this works if the problem at its core remains poorly understood and complementary issues like food waste are not addressed. This is why I wholeheartedly believe that before systems change, awareness has to change. Not awareness as exposure, but awareness as understanding. In my opinion, hunger in the age of infinite choice in 2026 is an ironic failure on the part of society as a whole. For our side of Gen Z as a role, it is not to save anyone. It's not to feel useless guilt on what the privileged have. It is to question the systems that normalize gaps between policy and practice. It's to advocate for change. And this is a belief that can be taken towards issues far beyond the scope of hunger and nutrition. Hunger does not persist because we lack solutions. It persists today because we treat it as a tragedy to be observed instead of a contradiction to be solved. We cannot make the mistake of overlooking those who do not have the privileged choice of equality. So, on the bigger topic of who is Gen Z, I'd like to ask all of you to just take a second, think about who is Gen Z, use the people in your lives that represent Gen Z. Here's my take. I believe Gen Z is a group of talented changemakers shaped by empathy and understanding, capable of changing rigid structures that seem unshakable and tackling seemingly insurmountable issues. Hunger in India, case in point. The shift in mindset from the generation of my parents and the rest is what sets us apart. We are defined not by the world we inherit, but by the systems we choose to question and the solutions that we choose to build. My claims may be big, but one day I know I will be proven right. Thank you.